Alright guys, so you have some cooking practice commands in your work for this week. I'm going to walk you through what some of them mean and how to do them if you've not done any baking before. So, it has you using quite a few things. It has you using some measuring cups. Now these are dry measuring cups. I am not going to want to put anything liquid in them. You can. It's a lot less effective and it's a lot harder to put the liquid where you need to go. Sorry, it's a little bit flat. So, dry measuring cups. My big one here, you can see on the side and on the inside there, it says 1 cup. So, a cup, I have a half cup and a third of a cup. I'll leave it there. Now I also have some liquid measuring. See, this looks like it'd be a lot easier to pour liquid in and out of. It has a handle, it has a little spout here, and it has markings on the side that tells me how many cups of liquid that I have. Or, if you want to measure milliliters, have fun. So, I also have another small one here. This one only measures up to a cup. And then I have some different things here. So, last week we talked a little bit about the difference between tablespoon and teaspoon. So, tablespoon is this big guy here, and teaspoon is the smaller one. They are very different in sizes. If you mix them up in your cooking, you will know. I have 2 different types of tablespoons here because I had 2 different measuring sets. I was just showing you guys that no matter how they're shaped, as long as they say 1 TBSP, I don't know if you guys can read that, 1 tablespoon on the side, that you are good to go. I'm going to use the red one because it matches with my orange here. So, I also have a whisk. This is a whisk. You use it to whisk things. And then I have some flour. So, your first instruction, you guys, is using a 1 cup dry measuring cup to put in flour, or to practice measuring a cup of dry material into a mixing bowl. I have this bowl for this. Now, you guys, for this, practicing measuring the flour back and forth, I'm going to use the same flour each time. I don't want to use new flour, especially if this flour is not something I'm going to be using to bake later anyway. So, this also goes with number 2, because I am using flour. If you're not using flour, you don't have to practice leveling. You can just make sure it's pretty level and dump. For flour, though, I'm going to practice leveling. And I am going to put my flour back when I'm all done with this, so I'm going to be very careful with it. And I should preface this by saying I've already washed my hands. So I'm going to take my knife and put it at the edge of my cup, because this is overheating. That's why we do it on a tray. I'm going to push over the container, go just across the top, push the extra flour off. And that is called leveling. My flour is nice and neat there. And I'm going to put it in the bowl without it going everywhere. And that is how I'm going to measure flour. Now, since I know my bowl is clean, and so is that, then I am fine to just put that back and be done with my flour for a brief moment. So, I will say some of your instructions have you mixing flour and mixing sugar if you are going to be putting them back, like the flour with the flour, the sugar with the sugar. You need to make sure that you don't just put your sugar in the bowl with the flour here and then stick it back in the sugar. You need to either use a separate bowl for each one or wash it each time in between and get it dry really good. Up to you and your parents how you do it. Just don't contaminate the 2 across if it's going back in the flour container that you guys use for baking or cooking in any way, shape, or form. So, you would do the same thing with the sugar with your half cup, and then the next one is whisking. So I'm actually getting my flour back up. I'm not going to do a whole cup this time, because I'm just going to show you guys how to use the whisk. I'm going to do a couple tablespoons. And I'm not going to bother to level, since in this case I am using it to whisk, not to bake with. So, when you're whisking something, you're going to take it, and you're going to do yours over the tray, and you're going to move your whisk around in there, and it whisks around. But if you go too fast, it'll go out the side. And whisking around, kind of like you're stirring. Make sure to get the edges and the middle, and then get everything off the edge, bring it back to the middle. When you're done, you can tap it off. And still clean bowl. So, going back in there. So, your next one, you guys, involves liquid measuring. So I'm not going to use the same bowl for, well, actually I'm done with the flour. You guys won't be if you continue on though. I will use the same bowl. So, move my ingredients, things I've already used, over here to my sink. And liquid. So I'm going to show you guys what a cup of water looks like in both of these because it's the same measurement, but based on where it is on the line, it's going to look different in each one because one is bigger than the other. So I'm going to take this over, fill it up at my sink very carefully. If I bring it back over and I very carefully hold it level, you can see my line here. It says 1 cup right there. Actually, I'm actually right on it, but due to the way I'm having to hold my glass, it's iffy. So if I set this down, you can't see it, but I can see that the water stops going back and forth in wave motion and sits right at that line. That is 1 cup of water in this guy. Again, the other one. So this is 1 cup of water in my 4-cup measuring. Same amount of water, different size measuring glass, so it looks a little different. You can practice with either one. I'm gonna practice with my small one first. I'm gonna hold one hand on the handle and the other down here. And just like with my pouring work, I'm gonna very carefully pour that in there. And then I'm gonna dump it out because it's water. Then I'm gonna pour my other cup of water in. And putting it outside on for the mess. So, the other things, you guys, involve some knife skills, and that's up to your individual parents. I don't have either of those on hand to practice slicing. So, after that, it's just measuring different amounts of things into a bowl, and practicing some other baking skills. So, I'm gonna let you guys go for that one and have a good time. Make sure when you're all done, though, that you clean up and don't leave the counter a mess or the baking sheet or any of the things you used. It's not your parents' job to get that cleaned up. That is on you guys. Now, if you need some help knowing how to clean something, that's definitely something your parents can help with. But we want you guys doing quite a bit of the cleaning too, okay? Have fun.